Brake system. Did you ever think how a motorcycle stops? Actually, it is because of friction. The friction between tire and road makes the motorcycle stop. Braking system helps in constraining the rotation of wheels, which helps in creating the friction. For this purpose, servicing the brake system is very important. Improper service of the brake system will result in brake fail and can cause accidents. Brake fail happens when the system fails to constrain the wheel's rotation properly. As an automotive technician, it is your responsibility to make sure that the brake system works properly. In this session, we will learn about the brake system of the two-wheeler. Brake systems are generally classified into disc brakes and drum brakes. However, most of the components in these systems are common. Let us first familiarize with the components of the brake system. The brake system consists of brake pads, brake rotors and drums, brake calipers, brake lever, and brake cables. Brake rotors and drums. Brake rotors and drums are attached to rear wheel of the motorcycle, which supports drum brake components. Brake calipers. Brake calipers are hydraulic clamps with piston that creates friction with disc to stop the vehicle. They are exposed to road grit, heat, and contaminated brake fluid. Brake lever. Located on the right-hand grip beside the throttle, used to actuate the braking system when the rider wants to stop the vehicle. Brake cables. They are wires made of flexible steels which links lever and brake mechanism. Disc brakes are generally placed on the front wheels of a motorcycle. It is controlled by the front brake lever. In case of a drum brake, a mechanical drum brake force is applied against the rear wheel brake foot pedal to activate the brakes. The typical brake system consists of disc or drum brakes in front and in the rear connected by a system of tubes that link the brake at each wheel. Now, let us understand the detailed working of brake system in a motorcycle. Hydraulic disc brakes are usually used in which the pressure applied against the brake lever moves the piston within the master cylinder unit. Hydraulic fluid pressure is then transmitted through the brake line to the caliper where it presses against the one or more caliper pistons. Because hydraulic fluid cannot compress, the caliper piston moves at the same instant as the piston does in the master cylinder. The caliper squeezes the back side of the brake pads. As the pads rest against opposite sides of the disc, the moving wheel is slowed. When the brake lever is released, hydraulic pressure releases and the pads stops pressing against the disc. Drum brake. Let us review the working of a drum brake. In drum brakes, it uses the same principle as that of a disc brake. In drum brakes, friction to stop the rear wheel is generated by the contact between inner surface of a drum and brake pads. These brake pads are pulled away from the drum by the springs when the brakes are released. With that, we have come to the end of this session. In this session, we learned that mainly there are two types of brakes in a motorcycle, and they are disc and drum brakes. In case of disc brakes, initially the reader actuates the brake lever. With the help of a brake cable, that brake caliper are engaged with the rotating rotor. This creates a friction which helps in slowing down the rotation of wheel. In drum brakes, it uses the same principle as disc brake. The brake pad presses against the rotating surface. These pads are pulled away from the drum by the springs when the brakes are released. Thank you.